And we're live. Hi guys. First of all, the usual live stream things that we do. Let me check if the audio is working. So if you can hear me, the people who are here, if you can hear me, can you please leave something on the chat? Leave a yes or a thumbs up or anything on the chat. Am I audible? Yeah. So okay, fine. That works. Hi guys. Hope you're doing well in the using your quarantine time effectively and efficiently. Today we have a very nice session for you guys. We have Dipanjan here who will be talking about designing and building APIs. So we'll wait a few more minutes to we'll let some of you more of you join in and then we'll start. Okay? Yeah. So I can see there are 12 people here. So I'll pass the baton to Dipanjan who will take it over from here. Dipanjan?
Okay, hello,
Dipanjan,
welcome everyone. Welcome everyone. So I'm going to Yashasvi, the other screen. Okay, thank you. Uh, so today we will be learning about APIs. So what are actually APIs? Uh, APIs stand for Application Programming Interfaces. So what do they do? Like most of you have smartphones, and there are often a weather widget on your smartphones, right? That shows you current weather, like 27 degrees Celsius. So how does that information reaches your phone? The information is provided by a weather related website like weather.com or OpenWeather or whatever. But your phone actually is getting that data not from a website but an API. So what is the difference between an API and a website? Website usually contains lots of stuff like HTML, CSS, JavaScript. But when you are accessing an API, you are basically just getting the data, no added stuff with it, like no decoration, without the decoration. So another example of APIs would be uh, you guys have probably watched this ad 1,000 times. Hotel matlab Trivago. So how does Trivago does this aggregation of prices from different sources? Like they are aggregating the prices from different booking sites, hotel booking sites, and they are giving you the best price. So they are basically using the publicly available APIs of those websites to access the data in a structured format, and then they are uh, rendering that in their own web app, web page, whatever you may say. So yeah, so that's what actually APIs are. uh, like you may have seen the recent uh, COVID related APIs or COVID related sites. Those also are aggregating data from a lot of different sources. So APIs play a very big role in today's application frameworks, whether it is mobile native application or web application or desktop application. Like today applications are becoming data centric, right? So you need a way to transfer data over the internet, like a faster way. Like if you include HTML, CSS, the whole package becomes very heavy. So you just need to send the data. Now there is a beautiful documentary about this, about Facebook, how Facebook used GraphQL. Uh, GraphQL is Facebook's API for communicating between their server and their applications. So you guys should watch this if you can. I will post the link shortly. Wait a second. This video is, I mean, it's a 30 minutes documentary, but this beautifully says how Facebook was struggling when Apple launched iPhone, because their application framework was completely different than normal, like how today's applications work. They had to completely rework that method. Like they only send now data in form of GraphQL API data, and the mobile application then renders the data. Okay, so I'll post the link. Wait a second. Yep, thank you. So now let's move on to the next part. So we said what is API. Now why also, and where should we use APIs? APIs can be used anywhere where you need to work on structured data. Like I recently built an app to scrape the web for COVID-19 related stats, and I created an API from it because I was scraping from different tables available in different sites, but those data were not available over a API, an API. So I made one, so I can make a web app or mobile app if I wanted. So now we will get to the how we can get started with the API building process. Get and post requests. Usually websites work using request and response methodology. Like you request some data or you request some HTML, and the response is sent to you. So there are many request types for HTTP. Usually most commonly used data types are GET and POST requests. uh, GET requests are usually for fetching data. Like you want to get some information, you want to get some data, that is called GET request. And when you want to update some data or create some new data or for submit a form, you use POST requests. So post requests are usually used when authentication, login, etc., or adding posts to Twitter or something like that. Today we will be mainly working with GET requests because uh, that is basically how most APIs work these days, except for if you want to make something like a blog site or post um, data or have some authentication protocol in your site over API, then you will require some post requests. So I will later share some links uh, related to good articles that describe how you can use post requests with Flask and Python. But today we shall do with only GET requests. Okay, let's talk a little about Python and Flask. What are these? Python is obviously a very popular language. Most of you who are doing machine learning and data science in anything have already learned Python. And obviously, in today's world, it's almost like you have to learn Python at some point. So now The Flask web framework is a micro framework for Python to create web applications that are deployed like that can be deployed with very little code. Like you don't have to write much boilerplate code. Like uh, it already does a lot of stuff for you. So it is mainly used. Flask is mainly used for uh, web API building, and you can also use it for your static websites or something like that. Now, whenever we are using Python, we need to learn to use virtual environments, right? So most of you maybe know this already, but I will still try to show you how to create virtual environments in Python. Because suppose say you are working in 4 different Python projects, like one is for machine learning, one is for web development, one is for data science, one is for game development. So your all projects have different requirements, right? Some projects require, suppose say, a library that deals with numbers like numpy. Some may require something that deals with a huge number of data sets like pandas. Or some project may require web APIs like web related frameworks like Django or Flask. So what virtual environment does is, virtual environment creates different environments for each of your project. Okay, so can you switch my screen to the code base? Wait a second, guys. I will switch to the desktop screen and I will show you guys how to create. Actually, we will get started with creating the APIs. Just a sec. Okay, thank you. Can you guys see my screen? If you can't, like, can you read the letters, or should I increase the font size? Please write. I guess I'll increase it a little bit. I hope you guys can see. Okay, let's create a directory for our project demo API. Are you guys following? Okay, this much. Wait, well, maybe change the file. Maybe. Does this work? Okay, so we are in an empty folder. There is nothing inside. Okay, now I will start my project by creating a virtual environment. So if you, the reason you should always use a virtual environment is also that your main Python installation is unaffected if you create a virtual environment. Now the second stuff I am writing VNV. This part is the name of your virtual environment. You can keep it whatever, like my environment. I will just keep it VNV. Okay. See, there is a new folder called VNV. Now this folder contains your environment. You should now activate this environment. In Windows, the process is a little bit different how to activate your environment, but I'll just go over this one. Whenever your virtual environment is active, the name of the environment will always be shown before your console prompt. Okay, let's install the stuff required for our project. We'll be using Flask. Pip install Flask. Requests. I will install them one by one. First install Flask. Okay. Then I will install requests. I don't think we will require requests for this project. Fast should be enough. Okay, let's get started. Now I will open this in VS Code. You can use any text editor. Let's create our application. You need to make sure that your application name is something properly written according to the website, like according to the place you are going to host your API or web application. Like recently, I switched my web API from Google Cloud platform to Amazon AWS. There was a lot of problem regarding this naming convention. The normal common names are application.py, run.py. You can use run.py or app.py. I will just use app.py. So for those who don't know much Python, I will just say a little bit. Python is a very simple language. You don't need any type of, you don't need to mention any data types for variables. So we will start with the project. From We'll import the Flask application first. Now for Flask, I will just create a basic hello world application first, then we will move on to the API part. I will show you how just Flask is so simple. This app variable is also important because for your deployment, these two names will be required. The name of the file your Flask application is in, and the name of the Flask application you are creating inside that file. So this is your Flask application. You need to give it a name. Usually people just use the application as in the Python file's name. Okay. I'll install the later. Okay, now we have our application. Now let's talk about roots. What are roots? App.root slash. This root thing is what you, when you run this web server, this will give you an IP address. When you go to that IP address, whatever you write, whatever function you write here, that will be returned on that IP address when you call it. I will show you guys so it will be much easier to understand. Define, let's say hello. hello is a function which will return just a string is hello world. Okay, there is nothing else in our application. Now this part is important for any Python program you write, because when you use this check that the name is main, then your program will only run the code you write after this if this Python file is directly executed, right? What do I mean by that? Like when you run a Python program, you write something like python space app.py, right? So whenever you run this app.py like this, only then this part of the code will be executed. Otherwise, when like here I have imported the Flask module from the flask.py file, right? But the flask.py is not completely executed. Whenever I could independently execute flask.py, then there are some codes that will be executed because of a check like this. So usually what we do is we define all the functions above this part, and then we write the code that will run if the file is run directly. Okay, so we will just run the application we created using app.run. You can give here debug equal to true, but I will skip that for now. Mm, let's run our Python project. Let's see. Okay, our project is running at this IP address. This is the IP address our project is running at. So now if I control click this, okay, never mind, but in the wrong window. Okay, let's go to the IP address 127 127.0 127.0.0.1 Okay, you guys can see here is the output we get. Okay, so it's basically rendering everything you are sending from here. Now let's say this is just data, right? this is just this is just a string, right? You can send it as an HTML, like you give it h1 header, you attach h1 header to it, and it will be rendered as a header. The reason I did not give the debug equal to true is because once you change the file, you have to save it and run the file again. If you give debug equal to true, you will not have to do that again and again. Every time you change the file, it will auto restart your server. Okay, now let's run the file again. Now I will reset the zoom. I'll refresh the page. See, this is rendering it as a HTML. Now we are not going to work with HTML, so we are going to work with data. We are going to just send some data. uh, what kind of data are we going to send? The data type we are going to send is called JSON. The full form of JSON is basically JavaScript object notation. But if you have learned any object-oriented programming, you have probably dealt with JSON, because JSON is nothing but dictionary in Python and hash map in other languages. So I will just return. Okay, now Another thing you have to import here to s- send JSON responses, that is called JSONify. It is a part of Flask module. It helps you easily. It helps you to easily JSONify. I will write a message here. Not message. I will form a data here. This is a dictionary, empty dictionary. Now I will attach a message. Let's say dictionaries are basically key value pairs, right? Key value pairs. This is the key, as in this is the message. The message value of the message will be hello world. Okay. So previously we sent a plain string, but now we will send a data. This will not be rendered usually. See what happens. See, uh, see what is it writing? JSON. Okay, here is raw data. This is what was sent to. See, this thing is message key, and this is the value. Value is hello world. So you can add another like key here, like say time. You can add. It is 6:27 right now. So 6:27 p.m. divided, save, refresh. See, time is added here. Okay, so this is how simple it is to use Flask to create any web application. So now we will be building an API for Pokemons. So I'll call this Poke API dot py. I think everyone watched Pokemon as a kid. Now I have a file. Wait, so, hmm, where was it? Okay, my bad. S- there is a file called Pokedata. I created this file which contains all the data about all Pokemons. Okay, see, I will try to show you guys, but it will probably not be very easy to go through. Something like 8,000 lines of data. So now we will be making a web application, web API, sorry, my bad. Web API that will give us the Pokemon's information as data when you search by their name or ID. Okay, if we have time, we may also implement searching by types, their fire type, water type, or whatever. Flask, we will need JSON 5. JSON. So let's create our application. Flask. Now we will add mainly two routes to this API. App.root. I'm adding a root called slash Pokemon slash all. This will send us all the data about Pokemons. Okay. Now we will define a function named all Pokemons. We have no arguments. We'll just take the file. Okay, I'm just going to read the file, parse the JSON, and send it as a API request data. So data will be equal to json.load input file, and we will return this JSONify. This JSONify is a Flask's own version of JSON. It will create any Python object like list, set, string, or I don't know if string works, but it will JSONify. It will try to JSONify everything and send as a JSON object to the server. JSONify. I will JSONify the data. Okay. Now I just need to call the function app.run with debug equal to true. Let's run this part first. We will check. Okay. See, this is going to give you not found. Why? Because we have not defined a route that is going for the slash path. We have defined the route for slash Pokemon slash all. So after the IP address, I need to give, this is the IP address, I need to give slash Pokemon slash all. Okay. So now we have full data. See, 0, we have Bulbasaur. Okay. Now I will just zoom out a little bit. Here is the raw data we got from the file. There are like 10,000 or 12,000 lines, I don't know. So you can filter here also, like if you want to find Pikachu, it will give you Pikachu. Okay. So this is the basic thing, like it gives you all the required Pokemon's names, but you may not want to have all the Pokemon's, right? You may want to search by a Pokemon, like you want to search a Pokemon's stats using its name, or you want to search a Pokemon's uh, say you are making a application that is like that works like a Pokédex, and it is going to show all the stats of different Pokemons, right? So your server that will hold all the data for Pokemons will need to send the data to your application whenever someone wants to access a certain Pokemon. So attach you can add a route that gives you the data of a single Pokemon, searching them by their names. So how will you attach the route? Let's say I will name this route slash Pokemon slash name slash. Now here I will give the Pokemon's name. How is that handled in Flask is you need to write the variable type. variable type is string, and the name of the Pokemon. Okay, uh, this is the variable name. This is the variable name that will be passed on that string. Like if you say, suppose for Pikachu, this will be, I will comment it here. This will look something like slash Pokemon slash name slash Pikachu. Okay, this will look like that. Now we define our function, say find by name. These are basic Python functions. Like you don't have to uh, know a lot of anything. Like you just need to learn basic Python. You need to have basic Python knowledge. You can work with Flask. Okay. So now this function needs an argument. That argument will be name. Make sure this name and this name is same. This variable name and this variable name is same. Okay. So you can also strictly type this argument in Python 3. I don't know, Python 3.6, from starting from 3.6 or something. This is a string, uh, or you cannot just do that. You can just remove that part also. Now what will we do? We will try. We'll try to open the file again. Everyone who doesn't understand that with open part, it basically opens the file and closes the file when all operations are done automatically. This is ideally how files should be operated in Python, accessed in Python, I'd say. Okay, data equal to JSON dot load. Okay, and this is the basically same code as before. Now we need to loop. The data that is loaded is basically a list of all the Pokemons, right? Now we will loop through this data for poke in data. I'll say this is how for loop works in Python, by the way. If Pokemon is this poke object now holds a dictionary, because if you check this thing, I'll go to the first one. See, this is a dictionary, right? This is a dictionary up to this point. Okay, this is a list of dictionaries. Every dictionary is a Pokemon. So this dictionary has what? Name, types, total, HP, attack, defense, special attack, special defense, speed. These are different stats this Pokemon has. So the stat we are looking for, it's not really a stat, but it is the name of the Pokemon we want to find. We get the name and we convert it to a lower as in lowercase letters, because you need to make the API such that when the users put in the Pokemon's name in any type of capitalization, it works, right? Because URLs work like that usually. So we will convert the name to lower as well. If this condition is satisfied, we will return that Pokemon, right? But always remember, whenever returning from last, you will need to JSONify your data. Okay? Now I have returned the Pokemon. If suppose after going through the list, someone misspelled the Pokemon's name. After going through the list, this will come out of this loop. and here we need to return an error message, right? That no Pokemon was found. So we will JSONify the message like this. It is a dictionary containing a key called error, which will say no Pokemon found. Alright, nothing else. Now you can send a response code. I have not talked about response code yet, but basically there are like you guys probably have seen the memes like error 404 not found, whatever. So 404 is an status code. So whenever you are successfully getting, you return the status code 200. Okay, and for whenever a Pokemon is not found, you can say a custom status code send 201. Usually 201 is for reserved for when a post is successful, but let's use like 202 for now, just for our sake. If this all operation, if any of these operation fails or raises an exception, we will need to handle that. So except I will just use a general exception. Again, an error message. We need to give error message. But remember, we are making an API, so we need to always JSONify our responses. Okay, the error. Now we will use a formatted string here. Formatted string is nothing but it is like a printf statement, right? It will print whatever the value is in E. Okay, so this will this function is now complete. So now we will run the file again, and now we will test. What was the URL? Name slash. Okay, guys, from the chat I will take a few Pokemon names. Please help me. I will test with Pikachu. Okay, nice. See, only data for Pikachu. Okay, guys, I'm waiting for few names of Pokemons from the chat. Let's test this, right? No names. Do you guys have you guys not watched Pokemon? Okay, I'll test with something else. Apom. Okay, nice. This works. Uh, let's try Staryu. Staryu. Nice. It's working. Uh, Squirtle. Charizard. Let's try Charizard. Charizard was a big Pokemon. Oh, nice. Eevee. Nice. I'll try Eevee. Eevee. Wow. There is it. Eevee. Okay. Cool. So our API is working, right? Now we are using the browser for testing, but there are tools specifically made for API testing. Okay, so we will be using those tools. One of those tools, this is called Insomnia. This is specifically made for API testing. Okay, here you put the URL where your code is running and load. The response will be shown at the side. There is another main hugely used, like very popular API testing platform called Postman, but the UI may intimidate some of you. Like there is a lot of stuff going on. I personally find Insomnia like a cleaner look, more minimalistic look. So yeah, I'll test here Pikachu also. Okay. Raichu, that also works. Charizard, that also works. So you guys get the point, right? See, it is giving the data only for that particular Pokemon. Magikarp. Okay, I'll try Magikarp. I don't know if I spelled it right. Oh, nice. Okay, yeah, Gyarados. I don't know if I spelled it right. Okay, nice. Magikarp to Gyarados. There is a huge stat change. If you guys have played, like, I don't know if any of you have ever played a Pokemon game, but I used to play them a lot, like 160 hours and counting. So, yeah, Magikarp to Gyarados is the real stat boost. Okay, let's get back to code. Do we have time? Yeah, we have a few minutes. Let's try to implement this type, like searching by type. It will return a list of Pokemons of a certain type, like say fire type Pokemons you want to search, right? Okay, let's add a route for that. At the dot. See, get familiar with this same like this workflow. You add a route, you add the function that is executed whenever the route is requested, and that's it. That's how your API works. Okay, Pokemon dash type. Now here there will be. Okay, let's test me too. Fine, I have no problem. Me too. Sorry, I saw the late. Let's test me too. Okay, here's your Mewtwo. Mewtwo is only psychic type. Okay, you can also test Mew. Mew is the cute Pokemon. Anyway, let's get back to code. Pokemon type, we will search by types, right? Then type will be a string, which will be, let's say, P. Now we will define a function for that root, which will be find by type. We'll have an argument P. Now we will say type. Same thing. I need to open the. See, I am just using a offline file for this database as a database, but this logic, this this part of the logic, this file reading from the file part of the logic, this needs to be replaced according to your requirement. Like if you say you are storing your data in a Firebase database or a Amazon AWS database or anywhere, you just replace this part of the code with that code that accesses that data. Then after that the workflow should be same, almost similar. Okay, so I am just using a file for ease of like teaching right now. Okay, let's open the file to get data. JSON as in file. Then okay, data equal to JSON dot load. I'll load the file. Then now we are going to search. We are going to search for all the Pokemons of the same type. So we need a list of Pokemons, right? So we need to create a list of Pokemons. So let's call this empty list Pokemons. Okay, then I will look through the Pokemons in data. Okay, in data. Now I'll say if t dot lower, I will need to convert everything in lowercase in. This is a little bit advanced function for those who are just learning Python, maybe, but I will be using a lambda function. It will do nothing but just convert everything in the Pokemon stat to lowercase. I should have just made the function like made the data lowercase, but never mind. So I'll apply this map to Poke types. Poke types. My bad. Types. Why these types? I will show you guys. Wait a second. So this Poke data, every Pokemon is a dictionary, right? And see, the dictionary has a key called types, which has a value of a list, right? This list, okay. So we are going to look if the type is in the types list. It's a simple, like you could have written it like this instead of the map function. If the types were, say, if the Poke types were all in lowercase, for example, okay, you could have written like if t dot lower in uh, yeah, in Poke types. This could have been written, but as I have not gotten the types in lower, so I will need to use a map. Map if this condition is satisfied, what will we do? We will add the Pokemon to the empty list of Pokemons. Okay, this is append. Is it going to fill up the list with the data of the Pokemon? Okay, if this happens, then we will return the Pokemon's list. JSONify. We will JSONify it. Obviously, it's a Flask application. You need to JSONify it for it to be used as an API. So we will return Pokemon. So uh, I hope you can understand that whenever this is an empty list, right? This empty list is going to be empty if no Pokemon is found with that type, right? So it will just return an empty list. Okay, now we need to handle the exception. General exception handling. We will return the same message. Personify the error message that it will be an if string, formatted string. It will say what is the error. It basically evaluates the error that is written in E and prints it as a string, basically like a printf function. Okay, our function is done. Let's run this file. We will test with Insomnia now. Okay, let's say we want a fire type Pokemon because they are the best, right? Let's see. Charmander, Charmeleon, Charizard, Charizard Mega Charizard X, Charizard Mega Charizard Y, Vulpix, Ninetales. I hope you guys can read. Or should I increase a little bit more? No, this is fine. Roll it. These are all fire type Pokemons, right? Okay, there are a lot, so I am not going to scroll all the way over. So okay, any type suggestions next? Any favorite types you guys have? Like say fairy type Pokemons. Have you heard of them? Uh, they are the new types of Pokemons added after Pokemon X and Y. I think I don't know if any of you follow Pokemon or not. Okay, these are the fairy type Pokemons. Okay, let's try dragon types. Okay, these are the dragon type Pokemons. There are a lot of types. Let's water types. Check water type Pokemons. Like Squirtle, Wartortle, Golduck, Poliwag, Poliwhirl. Okay, nice. Uh, I don't know if it's AR or no. See, I did a wrong type and it returned an empty list as we expected, right? So we will say, suppose, flying type. These are the bird Pokemons. Butterfree, Pidgeotto. Okay, so this is working fine. Okay, that's it for the APIs. How to make them using Flask. These are really simple APIs. You can make almost everything you need from in an API using GET requests. I did not go into the post request today because it would have taken much longer. So yeah, that's it.
Thanks, Dipan. Acha, oh, you're taking
Yeah.
fine.
Thank you, Dipanshan, so much for the session. We love what you did out there, and we hope that all the audience who had joined us for the session found it insightful as well. We would wait for a couple of minutes to see if there's some questions you guys come up with. If not, if you have another questions at another point in time, feel free to drop the questions in the comments below, or feel free to like tweet it out to us. Right, drop us a message on Facebook about any questions that you have regarding building APIs. Dipanshan can take a look at them and answer them accordingly. So right now, I don't see any messages here, any queries. So okay, to wrap it up, thanks a ton for joining, guys, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.
Yeah, thank you.